Hi guys, so this is just going to be a lesson on going just through some really, some what I call, just some riffs that maybe you're just starting, you're starting out on the guitar and you want to learn, the chords are cool where you kind of play a group of notes all together at once, but you want to kind of play some things where you're just playing individual notes, in a sort of series or a string. So a string of single notes. So we're going to go through two different riffs. We're going to go through Smoke on the Water, and we're also going to go through Seven Nation Army. And I'm going to show you what both of these riffs sort of offer to you as someone who's just starting off on the guitar, learning a couple riffs. So why don't we just start with Smoke on the Water? So first of all, actually, I should say, I was using a pick there. If you're using a pick, the way that I like to hold my pick is I like to kind of have it a little bit to an angle like that on my index. And I close it into my hand, so I'm kind of like this, and then I sort of hold it like this. So I'm going to just kind of move into the camera to show you kind of how I'm holding that. Sort of holding it like this. So it's sort of right there on my index. It's not totally, it's a little bit at an angle, as you can see. Like see how it's sort of, it's not like this exactly at a 90-degree angle from my index. It's sort of like following, my index, and then I hold it like this. And then when I'm playing, I usually either go, I'm trying to go up and down as much as I can. Play around with it though and see what works for you. I'm not going to actually use a pick for this lesson. I'm going to use my fingers, and when you're using your fingers, you want to do what I call the walking man. Try and alternate between your index. You don't want to use your thumb a whole lot, at least not right now. Maybe if you start getting some finger picking stuff, then you can start using your thumb. For now, do the walking man. Index and middle finger. Cool. So why don't we get going? So the first things first is let's do Smoke on the Water. Smoke on the Water is a good little riff to practice not having to move around the neck, but just using different fingers and assigning jobs to each finger. So what we're going to do is for this song, we're actually not even going to use our middle finger. We're just going to use our index, our ring, and our pinky. And we're only going to be using this low 6th string right here. That's it. So, first things first. When we play guitar, when we play like riffs and stuff like that, we want to make it as simple as possible, we want to try and assign jobs to our fingers. So what I do is I assign to each finger like an entire fret. No matter what's, the string, doesn't matter, it's the fret. I assign it by fret. So in this case, for Smoke on the Water, I'm going to assign my index to the 3rd fret. And it just so happens that the only string I'm using for this song is the 6th string, but I'm going to assign it to that 3rd fret. I'm going to put my middle finger, I'm going to assign it to the 4th fret. There just so happens I never have to use the 4th fret in this song, so middle finger is going to get a break for the entire song. Ring, I'm going to assign that ring to the 5th fret. That 5th fret. And the pinky, I'm going to assign it to the 6th fret. So each one's got a job. And what I'm going to do is this. This is the riff. This is Smoke on the Water. And what I'm doing there is I'm starting off, I'm going open 6th string, open 3rd fret of the 6th string, so I'm using my index because I assigned it that job. And I'm making sure that I've got if you've seen my other video about the punching spider there, I've got it's on the tip of my finger, and I'm not like all flattened out and stuff like that, right? I'm not like, bleh. It's curved, right? My finger's curved, and I'm pushing with the tip of my finger there. I've got some meat behind it. I'm pushing hard enough so it's not doing like that. It's nice and clean, right? And I'm going open 3rd fret of the 6th string. Then with my ring, because middle doesn't, I just go right to the 5th fret of the 6th string, and so my middle doesn't have to do anything for this song. With my ring finger, I'm going to hit that 5th fret of the 6th string. Sounds just like that. Remember, walking man with this. Good. That's kind of like part 1 of the riff. Part 2 of the riff goes like this. What I did there is I started the same. I went open, 3rd fret, and then what I did is I reached out with my pinky. Remember, I signed my pinky to the 6th fret, and I went 6, punching spider, get some meat behind that, tip of the pinky, 6, 5. What I did is I went pinky, ring, 6th fret, 5th fret. And my 5th fret, remember, my ring finger is assigned to that one. So I went open, index, pinky, ring, or open, 3, 6, 5. Good. And then the third part of Smoke on the Water, the third part of the riff just goes like this. Open, 3, 5, 3, open, open. I'm going to use my index on the 3rd, ring on the 5th, index on the 3rd, open, open. All together, that riff is going to sound like this, using our fingers, right? Awesome job. So that's sort of a good riff that you can use when you're just like practicing keeping your hand in one sort of place. Maybe you have to move a little bit, but you're not really going all up and down the neck, but you're practicing sort of the finger dexterity of using different fingers for different things. But sometimes when you're playing riffs, you are going to have to move up and down the neck. So a good little riff to practice that is Seven Nation Army. Seven Nation Army, this one you're going to actually be not on the 6th fret, but you're going to be on the 5th fret for pretty much, or sorry, 5th, not on the 6th string, on the 5th string for most of the riff. There's just this one part before you hop into sort of the chorus where you do something on the 6th string. But for the most part, you're on the 5th string. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have your index, you're going to want to start off placing your index on that 7th fret of the 5th string. Remember, I'm walking man. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go, remember how we want to always assign our fingers to certain frets when we're in certain positions. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our index here on the 7th, our middle on the 8th fret, our ring on the 9th fret, and our pinky on the 10th fret. Just so happens we're not going to use the 7th or the 8th and 9th fret. We're only going to use the 7th and the 10th. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, whoops. We're going to go 7, 7, 10 with the pinky, 7. That's the first little part. 7, 7, 10, 10, 7. Whoops. That's that first bit. Do, 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 do. And then what we're going to do with our index is we're going to just walk it down. We're going to go. And in terms of the frets, we're going 5, 3, 2. And we're just doing that with the index. 5, 3, 2. All on the 5th string. And remember, walking man. So all together it sounds like this. Good. That's sort of like riff number 1 for the song. The other sort of riff you can do, you can use these like, you can go like 1, 2, 1, 2. You can kind of go back and forth between the two. The next part, riff number 2 for the song, starts off exactly the same as riff 1. Starts off that same way, but then what you do, instead of just going for that next part, instead of just going, you're going to do this. And what we're doing there is we go 5, 3. So we start off, we slide that, we have the index here. Index down to from the 5th fret to the 3rd fret. And then once we're here, we're going to kind of, again, we assign our fingers jobs, right? So my index is already here on the 3rd fret. So why don't we just assign everything else accordingly? So my index is here on the 3rd fret. My middle is going to be here on the 4th. Is going to take care of the 4th fret. My ring is going to take care of that 5th fret. And my pinky is going to take care of that 6th fret. And to reach back up to that 5th string, because that's what we want to do. We want to go 5, 3, 5. That's what we want to do. 5, 3. Well, our middle is assigned to the 4th. Our ring finger is assigned to the 5th fret now. So we're going to go. And that's just about being efficient. Instead of going, moving all up the place and stuff like that, we don't need to move our arm. We can just go. We can just, way more efficient to just use our ring finger. Our ring finger's already there. He's hovering over it. He's ready to go. So we'll go 5, 3, 5 with the ring, and then back to that note with our index there on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. And then we're just going to bring it down to the 2nd fret. So all together, that riff is going to sound like this. So we'll do part 1 and part 2 together. So part 1. Good. And the next part. And you could just keep doing that over and over. And then when you want to kind of, because at one point in the song it does this sort of. What you're going to want to do there, that's a good time to practice your walking man. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to move over to the 3rd fret of the 6th string. With your walking man, you're going to want to go alternate. You have your index here on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you could either, this one, I kind of do both. I just, because my ring, right, we're assigning jobs, my ring is going to be assigned to the 5th fret of the 6th string. Sometimes I just go like this. I just play with my ring. And same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or sometimes I just slide up the index. Sometimes I just do that. And then you restart. And then back up to that 7th fret, 5th string. So there you go. Those are 2 riffs that you can use. Smoke on the Water is a good little tune just to really practice staying in one position but using different fingers in one position. So practicing the finger dexterity. Smoke on the Water is a good one. You do a bit of that as well. You do that, but it's also a very good riff to practice just moving up and down the neck. And using those 2 type of techniques, you'll be able to play a lot of other different kinds of riffs that involve having to play, in one position, using lots of, using your fingers in a lot of different ways in one position, but then also having to slide down sometimes and doing both at the same time. So that comes later on, but we've got to start somewhere. And these 2 riffs are 2 really good riffs to just practice those 2 sorts of things. So I would suggest using these 2 riffs to do just that. Practice staying in one place and assigning fingers to different frets and playing around, right, with and also practicing going up and down the neck. So I think we'll leave it there for today. I hope that this video helps you out a little bit. Take care. Bye.